Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV this Sunday afternoon. It's time for the next round of the Majors International Region, Round 8, the World Series of Asphalt from New Smyrna Speedway. We're racing late models in a multi-race format for today's event. And it's going to be a fun one. Quite a few things the drivers will have to keep track of and deal with over the course of this broadcast's action. Bringing it to you live here on SimSpeed TV is myself, Reese Gardner, with Jay Kennedy alongside me in the commentary box, and joining me in the commentary booth as well as production, Jay. How long has it been since it's just been us for a broadcast? I have to wonder, it's probably over a year, maybe 2 years?
It's been a while, and there's usually a good reason because you really have to carry me through these. But no, it should be fun. This will be a fun event. I'm looking forward to seeing how this race goes. Yeah, this track is going to be very, very tough for the drivers. And the format of this race is going to be tough too.
Yeah, certainly is. We'll go more into the ifs, buts, and maybes of the format as time goes on. But for the moment, take a look at the track here. New Smyrna Speedway in Florida. It's just north of Orlando on the beautiful coast of Florida. Head on into the greenery a little bit and you'll find this 0.77 kilometer oval, which is about half a mile in length. This place has been around since the late 1960s, and it has some fairly significant banking through the turns. You can carry quite a bit of speed around here.
Yeah, it's a real momentum track, and straights feel a lot longer than you expect as well. That strange shape to it when you look at it, so it is a bit deceiving. And one thing that I thought was pretty cool when I was looking through some stuff was that the turns are a lot wider than the straights as well, so it actually does open up in the turns and closes up right on the exit of the corners, so it can make it difficult to complete your passes around the outside because the track does narrow up very, very quickly.
Yeah, and one thing you're also going to see on the start-finish stretch up the top of the image is the wall isn't actually straight. Has a couple of bends in it. And from what I can see in the pre-event practice, drivers are using that secondary bend in the wall as their sort of turn-in point for turns 1 and 2. So New Smyrna, I think, a very good example, Jay, of an oval that proves that oval racing is not that easy.
Yeah, well, oval racing isn't easy, and this is one of the tracks that helps show how difficult it can be. So You and I both know how difficult it is because we've done a fair bit in a previous life. But anyone that's new to it, this is not a track that you want to go for a first time out because it is a very, very difficult one.
Yeah, indeed. And the drivers are going to be dealing with two 20-lap heats to set the grid here. Heat 1 is going to decide the starting order of the inside line of cars, and Heat 2 will decide the starting order of the outside line of cars. So low line versus high line. Essentially, the winner of Heat 1 is going to have pole position for the 100-lap main. But big difference of strategy in this one compared to other oval races we've done in the majors. No tire changes, and caution laps do count. So this isn't like your typical short track or dirt oval stuff where caution laps don't count and you have 100 green flag laps. The laps will still count while you're touring around behind the pace car. And well, I think having no tire changes permitted in these late model stocks is going to be putting some drivers through the ringer when we get to near the end of the race.
Yeah, it's difficult to keep the tyre on the car for the 100 laps, and you have a bit of damage to your car as well. If you get turned around and hit the wall, you're going to find that tyre degradation becomes a bit exacerbated because of the nature of the car. So having a car set up that will save the tyre is probably going to be more important for some drivers than having a fast car. So the other side of that too is there's a 24x incident disqualification limit. What that means, if you spin another car 6 times or get spun a few times, you can find yourself out of the race before the end as well. So you've got to be very, very careful to make sure you do not make too much contact with other cars.
Yeah, and late model racing is generally a bit of an argy-bargy category, so the drivers will need to be very much on their toes here to avoid getting that dreaded DQ flag. Ewan Baker for KSR Speed Nation leading the overall Drivers' Championship, but not by too much. James Walker is 23 points behind and shadowing him for the lead there. Robert Northway, the last time we ran the international region of the majors, he was champion, and he sits rounding out the top 3 on 1,049 points. KSR is far and away the top team of 2025 in the majors, but Fusion is right there with them as well. Fusion Gold International for James Walker, and Justin Morton with Garen Batten sitting in P6. Looking a bit closer further down the standings, Thomas Hinz and Jake Fox only separated by 9 points for 9th place in the standings. And in the Legends Championship, Robert Deloach has taken the lead with Jake Fox trailing behind, and it's another 22 points back to Ray Partridge. Dan Stevens for Middle Finger Racing sits P4, always has a fair share of success in the Legends Championship for drivers over 50 years of age. So let's see how those standings look on the way out of this round after what I presume is going to be quite a bit of chaos, Jay.
Yeah, I'm anticipating a fair bit of chaos, but in amongst the chaos, fingers crossed, we see some really good racing as well. So drivers just at the end of their practice session, they will all get a short qualifying run before we get into those heats. So it's going to be very, very action-packed night of racing. Justin Morton currently the pace setter, but the top of the field throughout practice has been really fluctuating with different drivers taking that advantage at the top throughout this session. Interesting that it's been a 2-hour warm-up / practice session, and about half the field has already done more laps than they were doing the racing tonight, just in this practice session, to get the hang of the track and the feel of the car and make any last-minute setup changes.
Yeah, that's pretty significant, really. The drivers putting in an awful lot of time to prepare for this event, and it makes sense that they would, because, you know, oval racing, as we've mentioned many, many times on SimSpeed broadcasts, it might look easy, you're just turning left, right? No, you are managing the rotation of the car. You're managing the tires. You're trying to manage the traction on the exit of the corners for the best runs down the straights, making sure that you don't carry your brakes too far into the corner and try and burn out the fronts. You know, there's so much more to oval racing than a lot of people realize, and I think it's demonstrated the most clearly on short tracks like New Smyrna.
100%. And yeah, the other part too is that the shorter the track, the closer the times get as well. Quarter of a second separates the top 24 cars in this field, so it's going to be an extremely important qualifying session. Only 20 laps for the drivers to make moves in this heat race coming up to set the grid as well. Also something we don't have at every round, but we do have for today, live race control. So you're going to want to make sure that you make these moves properly, because if you don't, race control will send you to the back of the line under caution.
Yeah, indeed. Our friend Lynn Kinchelow, who often joins us in commentary for Majors International broadcasts, is currently in race control. So let's keep an eye out for anyone who raises the ire of Kinch there. Practice is over. And it is time for the 5 minutes of qualifying, over which drivers have 4 laps to set their ultimate times for the heat grids. Now, I have noticed we have a very significant driver joining us for this round in car 203. Won't be able to show him just yet as we focus on the Kingsman number 29 working his way around the circuit of Adam Johnson. But car 203 driven by Togo Hisada. Now, if you're a regular watcher of broadcasts from our friends over at Global Sim Racing Channel, you probably know who Togo Hisada is. He is the Japanese driver, a very young Japanese driver, has been very active in the historic open wheel championships on iRacing over the last couple of years. He's raced in the Grand Prix Legends series and the Lotus 79 Grand Prix series as well. This is the first time I've seen Togo in an oval car, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But the times are already coming in, Jay, and Ewan Baker putting himself solidly on top as Mr. Hisada is now out there on the circuit.
Yeah, Garen Batten's taken that top spot away very, very quickly. As now Ryan Steele takes it. It's going to chop and change so much over the next 3 or 4 minutes. So keep an eye on the top of the timing sheet. Only 0.02 of a second separating P1, P2 at the moment. Zasada comes across the line. His first lap is a 17.9. Ryan Steele down to 17.7s now. This track is only going to get quicker as well, because we are racing into the evening, which means that the lights will come on. The ambient temperature will drop, track temperature will drop, means there's more grip.
Yes, and that's incredibly important in oval racing where the cars are under load pretty much the whole time. Togo Hisada's first laps put himself in the top 10. And he's running very high indeed through the turns here to try and get as much momentum as he can for the final couple of laps. Mark Herzog in car 57 goes 4th fastest, as it looks like runs are over for Ryan Steele and Garen Batten, 1st and 3rd respectively, but now 2nd and 3rd respectively as Ewan Baker goes ever faster down to a 17.695 on his last lap. Phil Otto also putting himself into P15. And Robert Northway coming out in the dying minutes of the session here. He's going to try and build up that speed, take advantage of the cloud cover over the racetrack. Let's see what the last International Series champion can do.
Interesting, the first lap for most of these drivers has been really to get tyre temperature into the car. It looks like the drivers are struggling for that.
Stevens!
Dan Stevens P1, that is a very, very nice lap. On his second last lap as well, so he can still go faster. Robbie Bradbury slips into 5th. Northway's first lap is good enough for 12th. And it was a real sloppy lap, so this could be a big improvement here for Northway on this second lap, which looks a lot smoother, especially through 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's crazy. Great stuff from Daniel Stevens. Northway's first lap gives him a 17.8. He's gone back into the pits there and is going to do another 2-lap run, it looks like, in the last minute and a half. Justin Morton puts himself into P8 on his first lap, a 17.806. We'll see if the next lap finds any improvement for him. And it looks like it'll, oh my God, it'll just be another 17.806. He matched his lap time down to the 1,000th. He's looking for some kind of improvement here now.
I guess you can't fault the consistency in the lap, because the time was exactly the same. He's going to abandon. He's actually done by the looks of that now too. Michael Hogg is about to cross the line to finish his 3rd lap. There's an 18.5 on lap 3. So see what he does.
Looks like, yeah, good.
This looks like a much nicer looking lap.
Yeah, certainly does. I feared for a moment that he'd gotten a 0x and hit the wall. But it looks like that's not the case. Down to an 18-2 now for Michael Hogg. That puts him down to 31st position. We have another Japanese driver joining us for this round in the 201, I believe, teammate with Togo Hisada, Shunsuke Tashima, who's put himself in 9th place, as Michael Hogg improves to an 18-0 to put himself inside the top 30. We have 34 cars in the session at the moment, and we're still looking for improvements here from Thomas Hinds, who is a former race winner in the international region of the majors. Morton makes a final improvement to P6 as Hinds is, unfortunately missed out on finishing that lap because it's a hard cut to the end of the session. That's disappointing for Hinsey. He will start no higher than 27th position, which depending on how the heats work out, is probably going to be about 13th or so in Heat 2. We'll see. But it's time for the first heat of the night. 20 laps on the cards, and Dan Stevens is going to start on pole position with Ryan Steele joining him on the front row. In third place, it's going to be Robbie Bradbury with Jason Lottridge alongside. Fusion doing quite well there. Shunsuke Tashima puts himself P5 with Sam Harper rounding out your third row. Robert Northway starts P7 alongside Fusion Silvers, Brian Scrivener, and the top 10 are rounded out by Togo Hisada and Chris Yatito.
And there we go back to Ben Doty and Stuart Elder on row number 6. Row 7 will be Julian Mookie and Thomas Hinds. Got Adam Johnson and Matt Chalker on row number 8. And the final car of this first heat, 17 cars, Roger Shank. As I said, 20 laps. It will roll by very, very quickly. It looks like we're almost ready to go, waiting for one car to line up, and then we'll be underway. It's going to be a really fun night of racing, Reece. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Absolutely. 2 fields of 17 cars each to race before our 100-lap feature. And speaking of the feature, Werard 10 in the broadcast chat saying over-under yellows, he says 8. Well, I hope not either. But just for the sake of a little bit extra to keep track of tonight, I think I will be tallying our cautions. We'll see if you end up being right. But they're pulling away now. 2 formation laps behind the iRacing sedan pace car. This being a track less than a mile in length. Jonathan Ben for Middle Finger Racing, also in the broadcast chat, lending his support to his teammate Dan Stevens, who starts up the front. And looks like Jono is saying his predicted cautions is 6. Well, get your opinions in. We want to see how many cautions you think are going to take place here today. But around the second formation lap we go. This is going to be a very important start here for Dan Stevens.
Very, very important to get away clean and quick at this start. It looks like he's got a very, very good jump. He's very, very well away.
All right, clean start from the field as they make their way into turn 1. Stevens defending from Ryan Steele, but the outside line looks like the way to go on exit. You can straighten up the car a bit sooner. Stevens washing up a little bit though, and Steele has to back out of it as we have our first spin of this first heat, and that's going to be Jason Lottridge that's been spun to the back and has got some damage. Looks like Robbie Bradbury came up into him on the exit of the turn there, and well, maybe a combination of Lottridge coming down and Bradbury coming up, but well, it didn't take us long to get our first crash, and unfortunately Bradbury's made further contact under caution with Robert Northway, and the number 1 has been spun around too. There's the initial contact with Lottridge going to the back, and then everyone slows down, and looks like Bradbury unfortunately wasn't quite in tune with the rest of the field slowing down there. Robert Northway being sent to the back.
With live race control here, we may see them hand out a potential penalty there for Robbie Bradbury for making that contact. Looks like Northway, with him having that spin under caution, was forced to go to the back of the field, so We'll see what race control decide to do, if there is anything that does occur from that. But I'm sure Robbie Bradbury is not too happy with himself for that incident, because it's not the type of racer we normally see from Robbie. So purely a lack of focus, or probably concentrating on something else that was going on. Considering caution comes out, you usually do focus on other things, and sometimes that can happen.
Sometimes it can. Bradbury, usually a very clean racer. Well, we'll see what develops from that. Henry James Racing comes in and says 7 cautions for the night, go the 52. Obviously, Thomas Hinds getting some support from the HJR crew there. And apparently, John O'Ben is going to be racing from a ghetto setup in a caravan tonight. So let's see if that will affect his pace any when he eventually jumps onto the grid for Heat 2. Thomas Hinds has made some all right progress up the field, up 3 positions, largely due to issues for those ahead of him. Northway and Lockridge are 2 of those positions he's gained. Stevens hasn't had to worry about too much. He's just been up the front the whole way here, and now he gets the opportunity to control the restart. But of course, needs to be careful of the attack from Ryan Steele, because the tyres may already be starting to be put through the ringer running that low line.
Well, pushing hard at the start too, you're going to work the tyres a lot harder in this race than you will in the A main or the feature race coming up. That's a really good lead from Stevens, and Steele the breakaway from the rest of the field. The rest of it closed up very, very quickly.
They have indeed, side by side for third between the Fusion teammates. Sam Harper getting it done on Robbie Bradbury there, and in comes the 201 of Shunsuke Tashima as, oh dear, there's been a big crash behind, multiple cars involved and a few backwards. Looks like Roger Shank and Ben Doughty, the ones that have come off the worst from that, and it seems it was started by Chris Yatito getting into the 313 of Ben Doughty. Bit of a checkup, because there was side-by-side ahead of him between Togo Hisada and Brian Scrivener. This is where it happened, and I think just a case of in a little bit too hot there for Chris Yatito, and that just triggered a huge, unfortunate pile up there, out of control for Ben Doughty.
Chain reaction, that one, wasn't it? And Roger Shanks escaped back to the pits, and he's actually gone a couple of laps down. From that first caution as well, Jason Lottridge came in and used his spare car, so he's back out there in the spare, and he's already gained a couple of spots from doing that. So sure, it wouldn't have been the start that he wanted, but of course this race only sets the grid for the main coming up. So every position you make now, though, it's technically 2 places you've started higher up when it comes to the race. So it is very, very important to gain as many as you can now, because they are easier to make in a smaller race, in a smaller field, than it is in a 34 car main event coming up. Tito, Doherty and Johnson all come into the pits to use their spare cars. 4 of our starters have now used their spares.
Yeah, and it seems that Roger Shank in the 950 is out of the heat, unfortunately. He's been in the pits now for 1.5 minutes, and that's going to be the end of things for him so far. But yeah, you're right. Another aspect, I think, of these shorter heats is you can push the tyres a bit harder in this one. The feature is going to be 5 times the distance of a single heat. So if you want to use your tyres, burn them to make up those positions, now is the time, because you're going to have to be focusing on tyre management when the feature gets going.
People will probably be pushing hard now so that they understand what the tyre does around traffic come the main as we get ready to go. The field checking up again in the mid-pack. We're away.
Close at the back, but Dan Stevens has gotten a great start up the front. Ryan Steele is trying to focus on later apexes. Yeah, a little bit of a wall tap there for it looks like Robbie Bradbury, and up the inside is going to go Thomas Hinds. Is he going to... Yeah, let's see if he can get the traction on the way out of the corner here. Bradbury now focusing on defense around the outside. You don't heat the tyres up as much when you take the high line on an asphalt oval. Bit of smoke up the back, looks like a bit of contact being made, but no crashes for the moment. 7 laps to go in the first heat to set the starting order for the inside row. Fastest lap goes to Shunsuke Toshima, and Daniel Stevens is facing a lot of pressure from Ryan Steele at the moment. Straighter exit out of the corner there for Steele. He's looking after his rear tyres, making sure that he has the traction to potentially pull a slingshot here on Stevens. Look at that late apex.
He's going to get the move done here up the inside. No, not quite able to get the nose in front. Now he's got to be careful because Sam Harper's there and can potentially pounce. He has got alongside, but just can't get the traction out of turn 4. That is such a hard exit as well because of that nature of that extra unstraight wall. You have to second guess your power application to make sure you do not hit that outside wall. They're all back in a single file, but I think this will shuffle around a little bit in these last 4 laps.
Yeah, Tashima and Hasada have caught up to these guys as well. Now a solid battle for the top 5 as Stevens is now starting to take a bit of a tighter line into the corners, try and defend from Ryan Steele here. View back from the number 3. And a bit of side-by-side between Julian Mookie and Robert Northway for 10th place, which will ultimately work out to 20th on the grid. Who's going to win this battle here? Northway on the inside, Mookie on the outside. Both chasing down Stuart Elder, and Northway, you would expect, is supposed to be a lot higher up than that, but he has made his way back into the top 10 pretty conclusively, which is good to see. The battle continuing between Daniel Stevens and Ryan Steele. Sam Harper right on the back of them as the white flag flies. Who's going to come away with the win in the first heat and get pole position for the 100-lap feature here in the World Series of Asphalt? Slight slide from Dan Stevens, but he covers the inside into turn 3. Ryan Steele can do nothing to overcome him, and Daniel Stevens will take the win in the first heat of the day here. Celebrating his victory. He's come here with a great car and is looking pacey.
Really good start for the night there for Dan Stevens, and he'll be overjoyed with that. On that last lap as well, we saw Ben Doherty drop down the timing sheet. He did have a little spin on that last lap, but because we'd already had the white flag, we didn't get a yellow, so that's why we stayed green in that situation. So Stevens from Steele from Harper, 1, 2, 3. They will start positions 1, 3, 5, all the way down. Shout out to Thomas Hinds, gained 7 positions in that race, which is 14 positions on the grid when we come into the feature race coming up.
Yeah, that's a great run from Hinsey. He will start 14th with the rest of the field being rounded out by Mookie, Lottridge, Johnson, Yatito, Matt Chalker, and Ben Doherty. As we said, Roger Shank, unfortunately, retiring from the first of our heats here. Time for Heat 2, and Ewan Baker's going to start on pole alongside Garen Batten. That's an interesting matchup. Justin Morton. Yeah, very star front row with Justin Morton and Mark Herzog on the second row. Clint Day starting in 5th alongside Robert DeLoach, the Legends Championship leader. Gav Barber and Dean Mole are row number 4. And rounding out your top 10, Craig Tilson and Ray Partridge. A good amount of regulars mixed in with a few less familiar names.
Yeah, really good mix in this field. We've got Phil Otto in probably my favourite looking car, the Scooby-Doo car out there, with Wayne Taylor starting alongside him. We go back to row 7, which is Wayne Hutchison and Michael Hogg. From there we go back to Hayden Kirk and Jonathan Ben. What did he say he is? He's running the ghetto setup in the caravan tonight in the 019, and the last driver on the grid is Jake Fox, who did not set a time in qualifying, but has done the most laps from what I can see in the practice session before the race. So it's not that he hasn't done many laps, which is why that he didn't do the qualifying. I think he's opting just to start at the back and work his way forward, which is a tactic that he has used in other oval races before and has had it work out for him. So don't be surprised to see Jake Fox up towards the pointy end by the time we get to the end of the night.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that pink Kingsman Racing number 08 as we're coming round to take the start of Heat 2 here. Ewan Baker on the low line versus Garen Batten, green flag flies, and that's a solid start from Baker. Could be an attack for Justin Morton as well to try and get in second place. He's already alongside Batten, and they almost go 3 wide on the exit there as Mark Herzog tries to find a way through the middle, but it doesn't quite work out for him there. Clint Day hanging back there in 5th, looking for an opportunity side by side between Deloach and Mole as well. Big oversteer there on the way in for Mark Herzog as he tries to get Garen Batten. A good amount of rotation required here.
Lucky to not end in a caution there with contact between the 2 cars. They both did a great job of avoiding it. Clint Day has a great view of what's going on. Interesting that Ewan Baker is able to check out a little bit in front. Justin Morton not able to hang with him. As into the wall there goes Mark Herzog. He's not going to lose a position, thankfully for him. Very easily have cost him a bit of time and maybe a little bit of damage because that wheel is very, very sideways on.
Yeah, it's been sideways since the start, though. Herzog is pretty much sliding that car through the corners, and I think if there's any time to do that, it's in the heats where you don't have to manage the tyres as much, but got to be careful not to overheat those rears because it can really hurt your pace around a tight, short track like this. The 17 of Wayne Hutchison getting up the inside of Phil Otto, the battle for 11th place. Or 22nd on the grid. Morton with the fastest lap of the race so far.
Have a look at
and
his
Jake Fox.
positions, though.
Yeah, have a look at him. He's already up to 13th, and these two come together. Could be an extra couple of freebies for Jake Fox.
He'll take advantage of them if he can. He'll be ready to pounce, but he also won't apply too much pressure to make sure that he doesn't wear the car out too early. Have a look at the front while that's going on. These two have broken away from everyone else. This is completely different from what we saw in Heat 1. The front two have got a second and a bit over the rest of the field now. That third on back group is quite large.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's going to be interesting to see how the pace of Baker and Morton matches up with the likes of Stevens and Steele from Heat 1 there. The weather is looking all right. 23 Celsius in the air, 26 Celsius on the track, and it's cloudy conditions, so there isn't going to be much change to that track temperature. It's going to remain nice and cool as the number 22 of Craig Tilson defends from Wayne Hutchison and gives chase to Ray Partridge. Last couple of positions in the top 10, and things are starting to look compressed there.
It's really compressed up in that group from Robert Deloach back 7th through to about 14th. It's just ahead of Jake Fox, and here's Dean Mole having a look up the inside of Robert Deloach. I say Dean Mole, I do miss his liveries that he used to run where he's with all the liveries and crowns, but that is a very, very nice colour on it.
Certainly is. You can't miss it. Very striking colour scheme that Dean Mole tends to run, and now he's trying that sort of higher entry into the corners here, and he's going for momentum. Oh dear, into the pit lane for Phil Otto.
I think he
Looks
got
like
pushed into the pit lane.
He did. Oh dear, that's not ideal. We stay green, no caution from that, but that's a good helping of bad luck for Phil Otto there. He didn't mean to get into the pit lane, and now he's been given an automatic black flag for entering the pits too quickly. As we said, he didn't intend to, so looks like he got... Oh dear, okay, so yeah, tapped Wayne Hutchison, and looks like Phil went into the pits to avoid that, but then got slapped with the black flag.
At least he knows where he's going to start the race now. He'll start from the rear of the grid. But a lot can happen in these races, and Jake Fox says thank you very much. He gains another 2 spots, which, as we said, that's 4 positions when we get to the race on the grid. So it's a very, very good drive here from Jake Fox. He can find himself right up at the 20 by the end of the race if cautions fall his way.
Certainly could. Oh, looks like Mark Herzog got passed by Garen Batten some time ago, and he seems to be the cork in the bottle in the top half of the top 10. Here's Gav Barber giving chase to himself and Clint Day. And yeah, what I've noticed from Herzog is he is running very close to the outside wall on exit. It's almost as if he's getting on the power a bit harder than everybody else, and he's going up the track at a quicker rate. He has had a couple of hits to the outside wall as a result, but he's managing to hold on to a fourth.
I think that's all it is at the moment. It was in the background there. You saw Dean Mole just hit the wall, and Ray Partridge goes, "Thank you very much. I'll take a position away from that bad momentum you have." As Craig Tilson almost lit it up and almost spun it around, but holds on.
Only just. Holding on versus Jake Fox, who's continuing to charge up this field in the Kingsman 08. Coming up to 2 laps to go now. Ewan Baker and Justin Morton, they're apart by about 0.6 of a second, and things look supremely in the control of our overall championship leader here. Ewan Baker takes the white flag for Heat 2, and he's basically just focused on himself, really. It's been a solid drive here in the first heat, in the second heat, sorry, for Mr. Baker. Who's going to win the battle for fourth, though, is the question. Herzog, Day and Barber, as the checkered flag flies for Ewan Baker and Justin Morton. Garen Batten takes third, and it looks like Herzog is going to hold off Clint Day and Gavin Barber.
That was a really, really fun heat, that one, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the main event plays out now that we've got our order settled. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting phase of racing coming up, because the track also has changed. The sun has set, clouds have rolled in again, track has cooled. So there's the results from Heat 2. Baker from Morton and Batten, your top 3. Herzog, Clint Day and Gav Barber. Biggest mover, though, as we sort of suspected it would be, Jake Fox, up 6 positions. He finishes in 11th position. It means it'll start from 22nd. Much better than the original 34th that it was looking like. Phil Otto, though, will have that 34th position.
Yeah, he came back into the pits 5 laps from the end and did not come back out. Probably not much sense in fighting after having to take 2 tours through the pit lane, 1 unintentional. Well, a reminder to everyone watching around the world what we've got on for tonight's racing. The 100-lap main is coming up next. No tyre changes permitted. And I think racing in the night conditions is going to help that a bit. Yeah. You will still have to manage your rears, though. I think that's going to be the most important aspect of this.
Well, yeah, tyre management is the point of this race. And the other thing that we talked about as well was one of the concerns from a few drivers is if you get contact from behind, it will lift your rear wheels off the ground and spin your car around, which we did see a couple of times in those heats. So it's a very, very interesting dynamic around that now in this race. You want to be the leader and worry about someone running into you, because it can happen so quickly at this track. It doesn't take much for you to miss your braking point and end up turning the car around. The other side of that is, if you turn too many cars around, race control's going to say, naughty naughties, go to the back. And then you do it too many times, iRacing will disqualify you. So it's a real fine balance. We're going to see some real tight racing. We're seeing a few crashes happening in the warm-up as people try and get used to the completely different track condition now.
Yeah, the track temperature has fallen to 23 Celsius or 24, as the air temperature has stayed roughly the same. But as we go further into the night here, there's going to be, I think, a little bit more of a drop in the track conditions, unless there's a lot of energy being put into the asphalt by these cars. About 6:30 p.m. in sim time for the moment. And we're about
the different regions as well. Something a bit different. We're all running different cars. We're all at the same track, but all running different cars this round. So interesting format for this round. We often will see that everyone that uses the same car and does different tracks. Like last round, we ran at the Motegi Oval in the old IndyCar, whereas other regions ran, one was at Smyrna and the other was at Road America, I'm pretty sure. The European region, they're going to run the mini stock, and it'll run the same format as us, no tyre changes. But the American region will be running the super late model, and they will get one spare set of tyres over a 200 lap feature. No
That's
heats, they'll just
huge.
have a one feature race.
That's
Oh,
going to be
fun for
quite
those guys.
massive. Yeah, very fun indeed. Yeah, so a lot of racing to keep track of here if you're a fan of asphalt short tracks in the sim.
Look at the
And
marbles on the track too.
oh yeah, wow, there's actually a lot of them, especially in
That's a
pit
plenty.
lane. That's they might have to bring the cleaning trucks out for that one.
That could be a factor come the end of the race. The marbles that roll up the track, and you know, you're trying to find a different line. Your tyres are starting to wear, and then you find out that the marbles on the outside are just going to wash you into the wall as well. So that's something I don't know if a lot of drivers would be prepared for, is how bad the marbles could get by the end of this 100 laps. Something
Yeah,
I
I
hadn't
think-
considered until then.
Yeah, me either. It might be a case of, you know, there's only one real line that you can use
Yeah.
around the
But
oval,
then-
potentially going too wide through the turns max.
Yeah, and if you then end up overusing your tyre, you then will be forced onto that alternate line that you don't want to be on, and then you're going to get scrubbed up into the wall. So it's going to be really interesting to manage the tyres. I reckon by lap 90, lap 95, we could see some drivers put their foot on the brake and the car just doesn't turn.
Well, a lot of aspects to the late model stock racing here on SimSpeed TV. Euro and Americas will be broadcasted by our friends at Pit Stop TV and GSRC. So make sure to look those guys up and mark the times in your calendar for the other races to come this weekend in the Majors Series. It's time for the 100 lap feature. Dan Stevens and Ewan Baker are your front row. Row 2 will consist of Ryan Steele and Justin Morton. Sam Harper rounding out your top 5. Garen Batten joining him on the 3rd row. Shunsuke Tashima and Mark Herzog are your 7th and 8th positions. They are followed by Togo Husada and Clint Day to round out your top 10.
Go back to P11, which will be Robbie Bradbury alongside Gav Barber. Go back next to Thomas Hinz, who was the biggest mover in any of the heats, alongside Rob Deloach. And there we go back to Brian Scrivener and Ray Partridge. On row 9 will be Stuart Elder and Dean Molan. Row 10 will be Robert Northway and Craig Tilson.
The 39 of Julian Mookie starts in 21st with Jake Fox alongside him. Fox making some good moves up in his heat. Jason Lottridge and Wayne Hutchison on row number 12. Adam Johnson starts in 25th place alongside the KSR 371 of Hayden Kirk. Then it's Chris Yatito, who unfortunately turned a guy in his heat, starting alongside Wayne Taylor. Matt Chalker and Michael Hogg will round out your top 30, and then it's the drivers that didn't fare very well. Ben Doherty and Jonathan Ben on row 16, and then Roger Shank and Phil Otto, who retired from their respective heats, starting at the back. We move to about 20 to 9 in the evening in sim here, and it looks so dark through the turn there. You're going to have to be extremely careful to judge your distances accurately here, as the pace car will be looking to come in the next half a lap or so. Remember, no tyre changes allowed, and one fast repair if you need it. And you may very well need it as the green flag flies, and the number 3 of Daniel Stevens leads us away for the World Series of Asphalt at New Smyrna in the late model stock. Thomas Hinz already with a black flag to his name. It appears that he may have jumped the start there, so the number 52 already with a disadvantage. Baker still pressuring Stevens here for the lead, but he's holding strong. The caution is out though, and it looks like a crash at the back involving Wayne Taylor and Adam Johnson.
Yeah, Wayne Taylor is facing the wrong direction, and Thomas Hinz getting a penalty straight away. That's uncharacteristic. So there's obviously something that's happened to Hinsey, because he is not one that would drive unfair. I can actually see what the penalty is for. It's the classic penalty in an oval race. What's the rule in iRacing? You have to pass on the outside. Well, he's going to the inside with a much better momentum. Made one overtake. Just passed there of Robbie Bradbury. That is why he has got a penalty. Now, Wayne Taylor, the field here, into turn 3, and there's been a check up just in front. Oh, there's been contact between the 27 and the 29. Wayne Taylor's made contact with Shatito and with Adam Johnson.
Yeah, so it looks like Yatito getting into the back of Johnson there was the unfortunate instigation of that incident. So it's the second time that Yatito's ran into the back of someone here tonight. I think race control might just give him a little tap on the shoulder and tell him to maybe lift off a bit earlier into the braking zones here. Everyone is just trying to preserve their tires right now, and aside from the battle at the front, it seems that most drivers are just focusing on trying to keep their tires under control in these early stages, because you're going to need all the grip you can get later on.
100% you need everything that's under the car by the end, because there won't be much left on those tyres on lap 100. Which is crazy to think that 100 laps sounds like such a long race, but people roll around so fast. Even under caution, we're already 1/20th of the race in as we get ready to go green. So even caution laps don't take too long. Only 40 seconds for a caution lap. That's still quicker than a lap at Daytona.
Yeah, it certainly is. I remember when I was a rookie on ovals and I'd be racing the Legends and stuff like that, I'd think, wow, 40-lap race? That's going to take ages. It was over in 10 minutes.
Yeah, or less.
So away, yeah, away we go again for the green flag. And this time, Ewan Baker gets the jump on Daniel Stevens. He's going to lead out of turn 1 there. And Stevens falling back a bit. Justin Morton's gotten past him too. And it looks like Ryan Steele's on the attack now as well.
Yep. Steele's going to try and take this position away, and Guys Harper also has a look, and he's going to have to tuck him behind. So Stevens getting stuck on the outside there's cost him a couple of positions. And speaking of the outside, Garen Batten's got it to work around the outside, passes his teammate in Sam Harper, but couldn't quite finish the move off before the exit of turn 2.
And slotting himself right in the middle of the top 5 battle is Thomas Hinz, who's taken his black flag there around the outside. Is trying the in and out machine of Mark Herzog. And wow, he's carrying a lot of momentum into those corners. Got to be careful not to burn up the right front. But yeah, Thomas Hinz has come back out of the pits after taking his iRacing black flag, and he is already on the attack to try and unlap himself. He needs to get ahead of the leaders if he doesn't want to stay a lap down. When the next caution comes out, he likely won't have an opportunity to come around and resume his place at the back of the field unless there's a way of him getting around. But the number 35 now of Robbie Bradbury battling with Brian Scrivener, the two Fusion cars side by side. There's been a bit of a spin for 4th place. The yellow flag is out, and that is a huge crash. We've got a car on its roof. That's the 235 of Robert Deloach. Oh dear, and Northway reversing back onto the track in the background there gets another hit. That is a huge incident that was all started from Ryan Steele, it seems, getting loose ahead of Thomas Hinz, and then Hinsey tapped him around. So the lapped car was involved.
Lapped car was involved, but I wouldn't say that the lapped car is the cause, because this has all come about from Steele running an alternate one, or maybe Hinz has been involved in that.
Yeah.
And then Steele's been forced into the pit lane, and the rest of the field just checks up, and it's a big cluster of cars coming together in a way that is not good. Also saw there was a car ended up on its side. I believe that was Deloach ended up on his side. So
yeah,
poor night seems to get poorer for poor Robert. He had a decent run in the heat, but this hasn't gone his way.
No, it hasn't. And I think one of the worst to come out of that crash was Dan Stevens, who won Heat 1 convincingly and started on pole position, but when it happened in front of him, he didn't have anywhere to go. he could have potentially picked a higher line, but you can't really predict what's going to happen in an incident. This is Stevens' view of things, and you'll see Hinz get into the number 12 and just T-bones him, and then the rest of the field comes in, and Stevens just turns into, I guess, a bit of a punching bag, really, for everyone else coming in.
He has got his car facing the right direction finally, but has gone a lap down. End of line penalties coming in. Interesting that Thomas Hinz get his lap back on this. No, he's still 1 lap down.
No.
So he has not got his lap back.
Yeah, and race control.
27 cars on the lead lap. Sorry, race.
All good. And I think race control might take a look at Hinzy there, because he was a lap car getting involved with sort of leading positions of the race. Now, oval racing doesn't really have blue flag rules, so lap cars are able to race, but yeah, potentially, yeah, there is a limit to that. And yeah, I mean, there were some mitigating factors. There was a bit of a higher line being taken for Ryan Steele, and Hinzy might not have anticipated that. But we'll have this, yes, caution extended, the second caution of the feature.
One thing to note as well is Phil Otto was very, very unlucky checking up for the incident. Crossed on the inside of the yellow cone at entry and then came back out onto the circuit, not through his own fault. I think the car was fully out of control as he had it locked up. That has given him an iRacing automated black flag. He will have to put himself a drive-through penalty on this next lap.
That's a shame. A lot of bad luck for many drivers there. As we go green, and Ewan Baker leads us away here. Good jump from the championship leader. Justin Morton finds himself in second place with Clint Day rounding out your top 3. But Mark Herzog is immediately on the attack. Dean Moll also on the attack there in the 31, going around the outside of Bradbury. And this is a big pack of cars that's eventuated here in the midfield. Who's going to come out of this one? They need to sort themselves out quickly, otherwise there's going to be more chaos.
Yeah, chaos is... I just feel there's chaos coming from this group here. I'm not sure if it's going to happen. And good to see race control has actually cleared those black flags that we just mentioned as well. So Phil Otto does not have to come into the pits. He's had his black flag cleared by race control.
That's good to see. Yes. Field starting to sort itself out, single file. Very deep entry there from the 313 of Ben Doherty for KSR. And now Justin Morton starting to pressure Ewan Baker at the front of the field. Got some lap traffic ahead of them, which could make things difficult for our leaders. That's Stuart Elder and Chris Yatito right up ahead of them, and Yatito going to be going high to allow our leaders through. Already with some damage there for the number 27. He's going to come into the pit lane and get himself out of all of that.
You also see that Phil Otto has got a lap which is lucky that he didn't bring out a caution there, because he almost stopped right at the entry. He was just far enough off the track for the automated system to not pull a caution. Side by side, still in this group with all of these guys, teammates for Fusion. They really need to sort themselves out. They need to communicate within themselves and work out why they are going too wide and potentially 3 wide. There's contact there with Phil Otto. Around he goes, and the caution's got to come out again. Yes.
Oh dear. Well, that's caution number 3 for the feature. Robert Deloach almost got caught up in that. He had to jump straight on the brakes. Already running dead last and having further problems there. But everyone sorts themselves out from that. So once again, it's a case of lap car versus lead lap car, and I think it might have been a little bit too hard of a push here. Slight tap around, and yeah, Phil Otto couldn't really do anything about that.
It stayed 3 cars wide. It was 3.5 cars wide of the normal line. And, so unfortunate for him. His night goes from bad to worse. Interesting, Robert Northway has decided to bring his car into the pits to get some more damage fixed. He has now used his spare car. We've got quite a few cars, quite a few drivers that have used their spares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 cars. 8 spares have already been used out of our 34 drivers. Quarter of the way through and 3 cautions as well.
Yes, indeed. So it's looking like those predictions that we were fielding. Yeah, we're on our way, aren't we? 3 in, and well, John O'Ben probably looking the most right at this stage with 6. Once again, Henry James Racing with 7 cautions predicted, and Werard 10 with 8 cautions predicted there. Most positions gained, Ben Doughty up 21 places in the 313, and got some battle scars to show for it too. That right front is looking a little bent.
Yeah, it does look a little bent, but the positive is it's not looking like it's actually making contact with the tyre, so it might be okay. It might not be hurting his pace too much. He still has his spare available, so if something does happen, we will still be able to use his spare. Race control have decided no further action on that racing incident. Neither driver did too much wrong. It's just wrong place, wrong time.
Dan Stevens, though, with an end-of-line penalty as the field gets started once again. Ewan Baker leads us through to begin the 27th lap of 100. And Morton focusing on straight line exits as it's side by side between Shinsuke Tashima and Mark Herzog. They work themselves out through turns 3 and 4 as Julian Mookie now puts himself in the midst of this one. Mookie up 15 places now in this race. Doughty has gained a couple of extra positions as well. He is up to 8th now, 23 places gained thus far in the race.
Yeah, really good job from Doughty to get up so many positions. Dean Miles also up 10. There's been some good movers and Mookie up 15. So quite a few drivers have taken advantage of others' misfortune. Shima trying to get a move done. We've got another incident. It's Hisada. Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, Togo Hisada is a deft hand in a Lotus 49 and Lotus 79, but it seems there was a check-up ahead of him. He wasn't involved in what caused this incident. It was Craig Tilson getting turned by Garen Batten. Seems that, yeah, there's the contact. Tilson getting turned, and Hisada couldn't react in time, didn't have anywhere to go, and ended up getting spun into the wall as other drivers made their way through. That's caution at number 4, and it looks like Brian Scrivener has unfortunately towed back to the pits as a result of that. We've also unfortunately lost Chris Tito as well. He pulled back into the pits under the last caution and has taken no further part in the race thus far.
Yeah, see, he's already used his spare car, and obviously the car's still got damage, so he can't continue on. And Scrivener also had used his spare car. The other part that we were mentioning as well, Reese, when you do use your spare car with the no tyre changes, your tyres that you had when you have to escape back to the pits or drive back to the pits, even if they're damaged, you have to put them back on the car. So even if you do use your spare car, you could have terrible, terrible tyres that aren't drivable anyway. So that's the other side of this, this sort of racing that some drivers will be having to take into consideration. Let's talk some positives though. Thomas Hinds, Garen Batten and Michael Hogg are now back on the lead lap.
Yeah, good to see from those guys, and they'll get a couple extra opportunities to gain more positions here depending on how long the next green flag period is. The leaders will be finding their way into double file now as we... Oh, no, I was about to say we were getting ready to go green, but the caution has been extended. Craig Tilson being given an end-of-line penalty for being one of the cars that caused the caution. So it needs some time for him to filter the back.
Yeah, exactly. So in the right spot, make sure the field's right, make sure they don't have to clear black flags for everyone, and then we can go again. One extra lap of caution, I don't think anyone's too bothered by, especially when 35 seconds for a caution lap. It's not like we're sitting here extremely bored under caution. 2 minutes and we've already finished the entire caution process. It's absolutely brilliant. I wish more tracks had this fast a lap under caution.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's also going to help drivers who may have been a bit iffy about looking after their tyres. It's some extra time spent just trundling around, cooling those tyres back down, and it gives them an extra chance to preserve them for a longer period of time. Well, the pace car will jump into the lane momentarily, and Ewan Baker will lead us away once again. He has been unthreatened for the lead for the majority of the race here, and Morton, though he has been aggressive on those initial restarts, hasn't quite been able to put the pressure on him before the next caution comes out. Here comes Clint Day up the inside of Mark Herzog to try, and there goes Justin Morton. Oh, but it's too late. The cautions come back out again. Only a lap in, or less than a lap in. I don't know what happened there. It looks like Doughty and Gavin Barber have turned around. Jason Lottridge also with issues. Was this an incident on the restart?
Well, it's obviously through 1 and 2 because the caution came out at the exit of turn 2. Gavin Barber was the highest press car, so dropping on the I haven't seen this incident yet, so I don't know what's happened. As Barber looped around, there's been contact with Barber and Doughty, and then run over, and then Lottridge just got run over as well.
Yeah, looks like it. And that contact between Barber and Doughty was, I think, a bit 50-50, honestly. Doughty was coming down to try and get the inside line. At the same time, Barber had already committed to the exit of the corner and was going up the racetrack. So it might be a racing incident, Judge, from race control, but we'll have to wait and see on that. My God, that was a massive hit there for Jason Lottridge.
On board with Wayne Hutchison there, and he didn't really do anything wrong either. He couldn't really do anything. He didn't see the incident, and all of a sudden there's a car slowing in front of him.
And the way these late model stocks are constructed, you know, the rear end of the car, well, the rear bumper rather, sits much higher than the rest of the car, and the front end of the car sort of acts like a ramp, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So rear end contact in these things, if it's hard enough, the leading car is going to have its rear lifted off the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Does happen a lot as well. We will see that many more times. Don't usually see it on the straights. Usually see it on the run into the corners, but yeah, a few drivers being caught out, unfortunately, by incidents. But it looks like we're going to go green pretty quickly on this one. I don't think race control really have too much to decide on that one. It's going to be a racing incident as far as I can tell. I'm pretty sure you're in agreement on that one too, Race.
I am. And Doughty has made it back out, and he still remains on the lead lap, but the majority of the hard work that he had put in over the first third or so of the race has now reset, and he has to start again. Ewan Baker leads us away for the green flag. Stuart Elder looks like passed a car on the inside before they crossed the line, and so he's going to have to come into the pits as the race gets underway once again. Bit of a move to the inside there from Shunsuke Tashima.
I thought he was about to loop it, but he's done a great job.
Yeah. It just avoids getting into Clint Day as well, but unfortunately just a couple of laps spent running that tight line, and the right side tyres are too burnt up to really do anything. If you want to make a move here, you have to make sure you get it done quickly so you can get back to managing your tyres.
Yeah, and we're going to see the drivers that have found themselves side by side a lot in this initial part of the race are going to find their tyres wear off very quickly come the second half of the race. Jake Fox makes contact. With Robert Northway, around they go.
That's a shame. Jake Fox and Robert Northway coming out to bring out the 6th caution of the feature. So depending on how you judge it, it's either John O'Ben that's correct or Henry James Racing, because HJR said 7 cautions for the night, not just the feature. And there has been 7 for the entire event so far. Looks like a bit of help was given to Jake Fox there. It was 3 wide contact, so I think Jake would be blameless in that one.
It did look like he might have got a little slide happening while he was in the middle 3 wide, and then obviously there was some help from after that point. Yeah. Now the incident on lap 35, which was the one involving Gav Barber and Doherty has been ruled no further action racing incident. So it was, we almost together can make a race control sort of happen, Reese. We almost know what we're talking about.
Yeah, just about.
If they're tough decisions, I don't want them though.
No, definitely not. If it's easy, give it to us. I noticed that the car that got up the inside of Jake Fox and tapped him, which caused that contact, was Garen Batten. Looked like the door just opened to the inside there for Garen, and he figured he'd put his car in there. Unfortunately, Jake Fox didn't leave quite enough room to the left-hand side, but although that's not on Fox, it's right here. Yeah, Fox, I think Fox checked up a little bit and went a bit high, and so I think Batten just decided, yeah, that's enough room for me to get in there, but Batten has been given an end of line from race control for being the cause of the caution there.
Yep, and on that look from the onboard, you can see it a lot more clearly. So, yeah, decision from race control. We're going to have an extra lap under caution. The field sorts themselves out. We're almost halfway through this race, Reese. They had a 1 hour, 20-minute time limit on this race, 80 minutes. We've had 5 cautions, or 6 cautions, and we're only 21 minutes into the race. So it is flying by.
Yeah, this has gone by much quicker than I expected.
Yeah,
My significant other was asking me earlier today, oh, how long do you think your broadcast is going to go for? And I was like, well, majors broadcasts typically run about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours at the most, 4 if we're doing a big oval race. And I figured this would be about the same, but apparently not. This is going to be a very quick one.
And we're going to see the action heat up a little bit more at the front. We've had front guys have made contact, had some spins at the front. Now they've got themselves sorted. Come down to these last 20 laps, there's going to be all action stations at the front because these guys are going to want to make moves. And they're seeing how quickly the cautions are coming out again. So you really have to make them quickly before the next caution comes out. Get yourself ahead at the right time when the caution is thrown as well. Cautions stand once again just to sort out the drivers at the back of the field. It looks like we've got everyone back in the back.
Yeah, so I'm particularly interested in Justin Morton. You know, he's been chasing Ewan Baker the whole time, and he's been dialing up the aggression to try and get past Baker, but he's been stymied right at the final moment when a caution has come out. I think we're going to see a lot of aggression from the number 9 here as we come round to take the green flag to end the 6th caution. But Baker once again with the jump off the start, and now Morton comes under pressure from Mark Herzog. That in and out number 57 has been looking pacey all night, if a little scrappy in the heat, but it seems that Herzog has brought it under control, as behind them we see Tashima putting Hayden Kirk behind him. Now his next target will be Julian Mookie, who has the 2nd most positions gained in the field so far. The hard charger is now Hayden Kirk in 8th place with 18 positions gained, but have a look at that custom headlight setup. It looks like Tashima's made his car look like a Subaru Impreza.
Love it. Love all the different looks that all the drivers go for in these sort of cars. Saw a Chevy SS on the onboard earlier from Justin Morton, so it's really cool to see all the different looks. One thing too, I saw Tashima really struggling in the heat, and wondering if he had his car set up for these night conditions and the extra sunlight on the track wasn't really suiting his car. But now that we're back under the light, it's an artificial light, the car is really coming to its own.
Yeah, Tashima looking very strong here, and piling the pressure on as it's almost side by side between Herzog and Day up ahead. There goes Day to the inside. He's trying to dive in the middle of the corners, but again, the outside line, if you're in the middle of the track, it gets a better exit, but the caution is back out again. There's been a big crash at the back. Robbie Bradbury looks like got tapped around by Ray Partridge, and unfortunately Ben Doty has been involved again. He has had really bad luck on these cautions.
Yeah, he's not had much go his way in this race, has he? After such a good run to gain so many positions, there's contact there, and then See, there's Jake Fox coming through, and then we'll see 30. Oh, he's been turned by someone else. Oh, Darren Batten also hit the wall harder where the wall juts out there. So we might see a few cars come into the lane here with some extra damage. Ben Doherty's actually picked up a mechanical black flag for his contact in that incident.
Oh dear.
There.
And he's already used his fast repair, no?
No, he's still got it available. He's still,
Oh, good.
still able to keep in the race.
Cool. All right.
Positive?
Yes, it certainly is.
Although he doesn't have an engine at the moment, so that's a drama for him.
Yeah, that's not ideal. The Fusion teammates of Stuart Elder and Robert DeLoach were the two final cars that came into that melee. And unfortunately, they ended up coming together, having to make their way past it as well. Doty was one of the first to see what had happened ahead, and he was slowing down. But unfortunately, I think it's par for the course with short track racing, where everyone's in a pack and focused on their immediate surroundings. They will get caught out by people checking up for an incident ahead.
And the other part of that too is if the guy behind you might see what you're doing and check up, but you've then got to worry about the guy behind you as well. So,
yeah.
And then the next guy back, he might not see it either. So when you're in these really tight packs, it very, very quickly can end up in big nose to tail contact, which we see almost every day out in the real world, in the road. Very easy to happen in the sim, out on these short tracks.
Indeed. Well, in the midst of all of that, we passed the halfway point of the race, and by my count, this is the 7th caution of the race. Judging by the rate of cautions here, I think we can expect about 3 more towards the end. Will we make it 10? Let's see.
So to add insult to injury for Ben Doherty, he's actually put up a black flag as he's been going through the pit lane, which, as I said, he didn't have an engine, so he was just making sure he still had some momentum. He may have sped down the lane while he was trying to get to his pit stop.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there for Ben. Clearly one of the pacier drivers in this field, but can't quite make use of it as the green flag flies again. And now Mark Herzog and Clint Day will continue their fight there. Behind the number 39 of Julian Muki, it is all going off. Hayden Kirk and Shunsuke Tashima trading spots there. There's Tashima taking the outside line, and it looks like it might work out for him, but he's a bit boxed in. Muki up ahead, and contact between the two of them. He gets into the back of Muki, but saves it. Excellent job there from Tashima, but now those tyres will be a little overheated, and he's going to start sliding down the order.
Well, the other issue he's got is he's got a bit of damage to the front left as well, so that could also be causing a bit of tyre rubbing as well. Parker hit the tyre as well. So he's got to be very, very careful as he just chops the nose off of Dean Moll, and Moll did a great job of not making contact there. That could have very easily ended in a big, big incident and a big clump of cars being taken out. But that's a good bit of driving. It's just behind. There's been a car around.
Oh. Jonathan Ben, Roger Shank, Michael Hogg, looks like all involved in that one. And that's caution number 8. So we're up to what Werard predicted for the feature. And it looks like Shank has gotten a mechanical black flag from that one. Ah, man, a lot of hard luck for a lot of these drivers, and well, the incident had already happened by the time these cars arrived on the scene, but Roger Shank looks like got ping-ponged around as it all went off up high.
Michael Hogg was that car that got bounced off him into the wall as well, so the thing I've noticed is if these cars do hit that front the wall on the inside, whether it's on the back straight or the front straight, the cars don't behave too well. So I'm trying to work out where the initial incident has come from, because there are a few cars checking up.
I'll go and have a look for you, Jay, as we find our way through. Yeah, well, I'll have to see here
Yes,
because
Jake Fox. I found it.
Right.
It was on the replay. So Fox in the 08, and then you've got the 03
oh yeah.
contact between as he's come to resume.
Oh, I just
The ball
noticed
was
that
huge,
ping
wasn't
pong moment there. Yeah, that was the 744 of Michael Hogg. I didn't think it was possible for a car to move like that. It almost just strafed sideways across the track.
It was crazy how much force came from the car of
Wow.
Roger Shank. And how his car
I've
didn't end up
never
with a
seen
mechanical
contact
black
like
flag,
that before.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Very, very crazy.
Yeah, no mechanical black flag for him. That is bizarre. It almost looked like the car hopped across the track.
Yep. Very strange. Good news, though, race. We are 2/3 of the way through the race.
All right. We are going to get some more action to you in just a few moments' time here. Actually, make it a few more moments because race control just extended the caution again.
Just making sure that everyone is in the right position. Ewan Baker won't be too upset by the extra caution laps either. More laps that roll off under caution, the less laps he has to defend from Justin Morton, who may be starting to work out where he can get this move done, because the last couple of restarts he's almost capitalised on Ewan Baker. Hasn't quite been able to finish it, but I think he's not far away from working it out. It's only one mistake away from Baker losing the lead.
Yeah, for sure. It just seems like it's poor timing for Justin Morton, because every time he is about to make a move on Baker, the caution comes out and they have to reset again. But it's clear that these two up the front have a pace advantage over everyone else. Clint Day and Mark Herzog, they've been fighting hard over third and letting these two get away. The restart is on here for lap 69. Nice as we go through turns 1 and 2. Now it seems like Julian Mookie is starting to make moves further into the top 5, unless Hayden Kirk has anything to say about it there around the outside. Our top 2 breaking away from everyone else as they're 2 wide, 3 deep for the last positions in the top 8. And Hayden Kirk still stuck on that high line there. Now he can start to move down and think about a move on Mookie. Almost gets alongside the bumper as that is Harper that's been turned around there.
Oh, Harper's
and it
been
looks
DQ'd.
like... Oh no, too many incidents for Sam Harper. He's out of the race.
He said that someone was going to get to that point by the end, but I wasn't expecting it only 70 laps in. I was thinking around 90. Yeah, wow. That's unfortunate. We've seen the end of his race, but we knew that it was a potential that could happen from this one.
And the horrible thing for Harper was he did nothing wrong at all. It was rear-end contact from Shunsuke Tashima here in this 201. Yeah, that's what got the contact there for Sam Harper. And in the background, you see him disappear from the circuit. So Tashima may be feeling a bit sheepish from that one. Just a checkup, really, for Harper. He had to get on the brakes early because Kirk had moved to the inside just ahead of him before they got into turn 3.
Tilson also has been disqualified too, so that we've had 2 disqualifications from that one incident.
Wow. So we've lost the 231 and we've lost the 22 as well.
Thomas Hinds, who was a lap down after 2 laps, is now back into the top 10.
Well done to Hinsey. Now up 3 spots from where he started and looking all right as far as we are aware. Robert Northway is following him as well. Northway just sitting in 11th place. It's been a great recovery from them. Wayne Taylor, starting down in 28th, has made his way up to 12th as well. So we're seeing some good gains from people late on. Hayden Kirk, though, is still the driver with the most positions gained. He is now up 20.
Really good to see him make so many positions. Also, Ben Doherty is now back positive positions from where he started. He got all those positions early on, lost them all, and now he's started to get a couple back. He's now plus 4 positions from where he started the race. It feels like it's been a very, very long way for him to get back to those 4 positions gained, but he is positive again.
Good to see. Pace car in, green flag out, and a waving, away we go. Roger Shank, though, gets the next black flag for passing on the inside before the line. A clean start from the majority of our competitors here, though, and the top two are still pressuring each other. Mookie versus Kirk for 6th place. Who gets the better run out of the corner? It is Kirk, but Mookie is able to defend up the inside for the majority of these turns. Kirk, though, with a huge run of momentum around the outside of turns 1 and 2, and he will get into the top 5. Lovely to see that, but now he has to deal with the battling Mark Herzog and Clint Day as Ewan Baker runs a 17.957. That's a new race personal best for our pole sitter and race leader, for our 2nd place starter, sorry, and race leader. Number 9 of Justin Morton starting to pile the pressure on now, and he is hoping that we don't get a caution in the next few laps, because we want to see these guys really fight.
Yeah, 100%. We want to see them battle it out under green flag conditions over a few laps. That's a little mistake there from Ewan Baker. Ran a little bit wide into 3 and 4, but Morton wasn't quite close enough to capitalise. But if he was, you may have seen the eyes light up a little bit. He has gained a fair bit of ground on the last couple of turns as well. So look how close the gap has got now, down to 0.2 of a second. Baker's got to be careful, because if he makes another one of those mistakes, he will lose the lead of the race and lose it very, very quickly.
Yeah, what I'm noticing from Baker is he's staying about half a car width or so up from the yellow line around the apron of this track. Meanwhile, Justin Morton is going all the way down to the line. He is geometrically making these corners work, but Baker probably looking to preserve his tyres a little bit, run a slightly higher line, a little wider, not as much force being put through the tyres, keep the wheels straight. That's what Ewan's focusing on, and it looks like now it's starting to help him out as Morton starts running that slightly higher line as well. Probably cooked his tyres a bit too much.
One thing I did notice through the middle phase of the race was a couple of drivers actually through 3 and 4 were dropping it right down below the yellow line and using that to hook the car up and propel them through the corner. But those drivers that were doing that now have started to drop back through the field. That may have cost some of those drivers in tyre degradation, but his front two have obviously done a great job with their tyres, because they are pulling in a very, very substantial margin. They've already got it out to 1.3 seconds between Morton and Herzog now, and they're coming up on lap traffic at the front. This could change some things as well.
Yeah, Baker, you can see already having to back out a little bit and try and judge how he's going to find his way past Roger Shank and Matt Chalker here. The first 2 lap cars they'll come up on. The room is left to the inside there, and our leaders will go through on Roger Shank. That was nicely executed there. And now Baker wonders if Matt Chalker is going to give him the same courtesy. He's going to find a way up the inside here, and he'll have to go deep into the next corner if he wants to get this done. But Chalker has a right to defend his track position here, and it looks like he's going to let Justin Morton run tight as well. That gives a tiny bit of breathing room to Baker, and next lap is going to be 15 to go here. Drama already starting to develop here for the lead of the race.
Chalker was trying to hold on to that position because it was the difference between him being on the lead lap and a lap down. Lotto is already a couple of laps down, so he'll get up the position pretty quickly, you would feel. His front guy's now out to 1.5 second advantage just in the background. Herzog is now in real trouble trying to get through these guys, and you can see Hayden Kirk trying to make a move here on Clint Day. He might get it done.
Yeah, can he get into the top 4 is the question. He's boxed in though, because Herzog has to back off through the turn for the lap cars. Almost contact between them there. And Hayden Kirk gets up the inside of Clint Day, who has to check up for the 35 as they find their way through. That's Robbie Bradbury, who's also a lap down. Yeah, he's actually in a bit of a 3-way battle between Matt Chalker and Roger Shank. There is, oh no, Mark Herzog and I think Hayden Kirk, Julian Mookie. Oh dear, he's found his way down to the sort of access road that lets vehicles out from the infield. Gavin Barber also with some problems too. How did this happen here for Kirk? Was it a tap? Was it something else?
Yeah, next lap we'll see the incident. But yeah, Kirk and Herzog. We saw Herzog facing the wrong direction, but then the cautions come from basically the big check up of cars behind. So yeah, there's been contact, been a big push, and then the guys behind, they've just all come in a million miles an hour and nowhere to go. Again, same thing we saw
light
as
contact
earlier.
too.
It was.
Yeah.
It's been a strange old race, this one. I've loved it. I've been frustrated with it. It's been entertaining. It's been action-packed. I don't know if I'm loving it or hating it or both, or I just don't know. It's been brilliant, though.
Yeah, it's been very entertaining indeed.
Been sky high.
What has?
The entertainment value.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're going to have 10 laps to go here, if not a little less. This is the view for Clint Day. And, yeah, just looks like potentially tyre-to-tyre contact there that really hit him around. Yeah, not ideal. By my count, that's 9 cautions now, unless I've missed one somewhere along the way.
Hayden Kirk is an end-of-line penalty for that incident as well. I don't think anyone's too surprised by that. Just going through the session events, and I'll see if I can will tell me how many cautions we've had.
Well, I'm pretty sure I noted down the caution before this one, and I've just added this caution in as well, so that makes it 9 for the feature by my count. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. But now, with this caution going to be ending in a couple of laps, looks like we're only going to get about 7 laps max towards the end of the race here, which is just enough time for Justin Morton to try and mount one final attack versus Ewan Baker.
Remember, he's got to get it done before another caution comes out, because if we get a caution with 2 or 3 laps to go, that will end the race. There's no green-white checker on this race. So when we reach 100 laps, that's the end of the race. We've really got to time this run to potentially steal the win away at the right time. And yes, you're right.
All right, good to know I've gotten something right today. As the green flag flies for what should be, we hope, the final restart of the World Series at Asphalt. And this time, it seems that Mark Herzog is keeping our top 2 very close company. Robbie Bradbury there on the inside, lapped car, having to force everyone wide. But oh dear, there's been a spin in the mid-pack, and the caution is back out again. Ray Partridge gets absolutely clobbered by the 115 of Stuart Elder. As the contact had already happened at that point, it looks like he and Garen Batten came together in turn 3.
And Garen Batten was instantly disqualified. So that was him hitting the 24 incident limit. You can see Batten in the 61 is ahead, and Partridge in hot.
Wow.
I've seen that.
Very hot indeed.
I have a feeling I said at the start of the night that by lap 90 we're going to see people put the foot on the brake and the car just keep going straight ahead.
Yeah, those front rights have been put through the ringer in this one. New Smyrna.
The marble build-up's huge as well on the outside of the circuit.
Yeah, I think we'll get a good view of it here. You can see the marbles start to come in there. I mean, the majority of the racetrack still looks clean, but it's very noticeable, isn't it, the amount of marbles that are being thrown up against the wall.
Yeah, the marbles are really playing an impact. We're going to get a 1 lap dash, I think. There's 4 to go, 3 to go. We'll get lights out with 2 to go. We're going to get a 1 lap dash. Unless we have to extend the caution, which I'm hoping we don't. But yeah, again, this is a 1 lap dash to get us home to the end.
Okie dokes. Well, that gives you and Baker the advantage.
We'll race to the end, because once the light is thrown, there'll be no more cautions.
Very true indeed. So that means Justin Morton is going to have to really stomp on the power and monitor when Ewan Baker tries to get the jump when the caution ends. Because that's been the big disadvantage for Morton. He's he has been able to build up the pace and attack Baker, but it's been that initial jump off the restart that's been to Baker's advantage. Morton just wouldn't be able to catch up in time if he misses that.
Yeah, exactly right. He's struggled to time his launch in most of these cautions. I think a couple that he's timed okay, but wasn't able to take advantage because the caution came out too quick. Cars pull in, the green and white flag from Barney. Away we go, and what a jump that is from Will Baker.
Yeah, looks like he might have just called it here, unless Morton's been saving his tyres for one final lunge here. Baker goes defensive into turn 3. Is there enough grip in the front right for him to do that? Here comes the run from Morton. Is it going to be enough? It's not. Ewan Baker wins the World Series of Asphalt here at New Smyrna in the Majors International region. Mark Herzog defends to keep his podium place from Ryan Steele. And that's going to be the end of things for that round as the fireworks begin around the racetrack. And Ewan Baker came into this round as the championship leader. He will maintain it and extend his championship lead with an absolutely stellar drive. He managed the tyres, he got it done when he needed to, and well, Barney's got a very nice view of Ewan Baker's victory celebrations there. Is that the front right lifting off the ground?
Sure
or
is.
Wow. Okay, I thought I was seeing things for a second there.
I'll tell you what, that's a pretty good donut too. It's very well controlled. Well done, Ewan.
Very nice indeed. Ewan Baker's run of form in the last year or so has been magnificent. The NZ Toyota 86E Cup, one of the places where he's really learned more about the ins and outs of racecraft, and he's been able to get great results in V8 Scops and other series of that ilk. But he will take the win from Justin Morton by just over 1/10 of a second with that one lap dash to the finish. Herzog on the podium with Ryan Steele and Shunsuke Tashima rounding out your top 5. Thomas Hinz making it up to P6. What a run it was from him from 13th place, and absolutely brilliant drive as well from Dean Moll and Robert Northway, who make it into 7th and 8th from 18th and 19th respectively. Wayne Taylor from 28th to 9th. That is 19 spots gained, and that looks like the most positions gained in the field, ahead of Adam Johnson, who increased his spots by 15 to round out your top 10.
Yep, we go back to Jake Fox. Remember, start of the night, started last, didn't set a qualifying time, gets himself up into the top 11 positions. Great job from him. Wayne Hutchison, Julian Mookie, Jason Lottridge, and Hayden Kirk, Jonathan Ben, Matt Chalker, Ray Partridge, Gav Barber, and Clint Day. The first driver one lap down. Not bad to see 19 drivers finish on the lead lap in this one.
Yeah, considering the amount of cautions we had. Roger Shank finishes in 21st place with Robbie Bradbury and Togo Hisada 2 laps down, 3 laps down for Ben Doherty and Phil Otto. Stuart Elder and Robert Deloach 4 laps down. Dan Stevens down 5 laps, and unfortunately we get into disqualification territory now. Drivers getting too many incidents. Garen Batten and Michael Hogg, it seems, 2 of those drivers. Craig Tilson, Sam Harper, with Brian Scrivener out 52 laps from the end, and Chris Yatito retiring very early on. Well, Barney continues staring at the rubber donuts left by Ewan Baker as we can bring Ewan Baker in for a chat after this event. Great drive, Ewan, starting from the front row of the grid. Things were going well already in the heats, but it looked like you were just getting away with it every time a caution came out in that feature. Morton was piling the pressure on.
Absolutely. Honestly, I can't really believe that just happened. I thought for sure he was going to get me. He had so much more pace in the car and was just, ducking and diving in the mirrors, and a couple of times did manage to get alongside, but those cautions just fell in exactly the perfect place for me. So, yeah, lucked out, honestly. Came in tonight not even expecting to touch the podium. I mean, ovals aren't really my forte, so yeah, honestly quite stunned, but incredibly pleased.
As you should be. How was the track later on? Because Jay and I were talking about how many marbles were left up high. Obviously, you were staying well away from them, but how were the tyres evolving there towards the end of the race?
So going through those heat cycles, it cools the tires back down again. So when you start the first few laps after a restart, you're pretty much setting your fastest lap times because you got the fuel coming off and the tires have recovered. So honestly, grip was really good. The car was driving really nicely. Once you got sort of 8 to 10 laps into the stint, the drop off was starting to take effect, but we really didn't see that too much tonight. So it was pretty much just full send for a lot of it.
Well, you came into this round as the championship leader, and you leave this round as the championship leader by a few more points. We're coming into the next round of the championship, the Petit Le Mans. Now, that's going to be a multi-class 2.4-hour event. Have you and the rest of the guys at KSR decided on classes and such yet?
I don't think it's finalized as such, but I imagine we'll sort of run what we've been running in the other multi-class events. So I have been looking at the GTPs again. Just it's probably the one I'm more comfortable with. But then again, Le Mans was a little bit of a nightmare for me that I managed to luck out of again and get good points. But yeah, I don't know if it'd be a bit of sort of twice, or once bitten, twice shy on that one. But we'll see how we go. The rest of the rounds, though, I'm definitely looking forward to. I kind of have been saying all year to the other guys that if I'm within touching distance of whoever's leading the championship coming out of all of these ovals, I feel quite confident in pulling back some points. So to sort of flip that on its head and end up being the one leading everyone else, it's yeah, it's really good and fills me with confidence to end out the season.
Certainly does, Ewan. Well, congratulations on your results today. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Massive shout out to the team at Kiwi Sim Racing. Big thanks to Robert Northway as well for all the work he does on the setups. He's the oval wizard and setup king for these things. So yeah, I don't think I'd be anywhere near the front without his help. Massive thanks to the sponsors, Speed Nation, InspireNet, Scott Technology, and Shearwater Studios. And yeah, it's just big thanks to everyone that supported us.
And thank you for joining us, Ewan Baker. We'll catch you next round, hopefully.
Yeah, thank you for having me. See you then.
Well, Ewan Baker will celebrate his victory, and Justin Morton will celebrate a very strong second place. But man, it looks like you were screwed by those cautions time and time again.
Yeah, sometimes it goes that way in the short tracks. It's really frustrating. I felt like I definitely had the pace on you in there. Just couldn't get it done at the right time.
Yeah, you were starting, I noticed late on in the running, Ewan was running a little bit higher than you, leaving that sort of half a car width to the inside, while you were attacking that low yellow line, at least for a few laps before you started moving the car up again. Was that because your tires were burning up a bit too much?
It was kind of just trying different things, trying to just see if I get a run a different way on him. It might just be a little bit separate, different setup. I felt like my car actually could run the bottom really good, and I knew I was going to have to be able to keep it down on that bottom to get by him. So I figured I'd just keep trying the bottom. I thought the bottom worked pretty good for most of the race, just not quite enough.
Well, regardless, still a second place for you. After coming into this round fifth in the championship, Walker, Northway, and Doughty, the drivers ahead of you, all having poor results from this round. That's going to be a benefit for you coming into Petit Le Mans.
Yeah, it should be a big help. I think Ewan was the points leader, maybe James was.
Yeah.
I can't exactly remember. James being a teammate, it was he had to pull out last minute, making the race. So I would have liked to race with him, but for championship wise, it helps me. So going in Petite, it puts me in a better spot to hopefully try and get my first Mario.
Yeah, here's hoping that you have a solid chance at that one. And you've also got the Bathurst 500 and the Japanese Grand Prix as well to round off the season. It's going to be a very intense end of this championship, Justin. We're looking forward to it as much as you are, I'm sure. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank all the admins and everybody who runs the major series. Makes it a really good place to run. Unfortunately, we didn't I don't think we put on our best show tonight. I know we can definitely do better on the short tracks. Hopefully in the future we can do better. Thanks to Mike for putting up with us after the races and everything. Thanks to all my teammates who we put in quite a bit of work trying to get the setup where we wanted it through the week. I wasn't able to be around much to help, and they did a lot of the heavy lifting for me, so I really appreciate them. And thank you guys for doing the broadcasting. You do a fantastic job.
Fantastic job from the driving point of view of things from you as well, Justin. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to end things for the interviews, Jay. Of course, we go to Road Atlanta for the next round of the championship, September the 7th. That's not too far away. 2.4 hours of multi-class endurance racing. That's exactly what we love to see.
Yeah, around one of the best tracks in the world as well. So it's going to be one of the more fun weekends of racing in the major series. I always look forward to the multi-class around this track at Road Atlanta. Bring it on. I can't wait for it. It's only 3 weeks away as well, 4 weeks away. So it won't take long for this one to roll around and get into another night of fun racing.
Indeed, but the fun is not over for the majors for this weekend. We still have the Euro and Americas regions broadcasted by Pit Stop TV and GSRC. So make sure to look through those channels, find the live streams ready to go, and enjoy more racing around New Smyrna in the mini stocks and the super late models. Big thanks to everybody for tuning in for this round of the International Majors Series. A huge thanks to Lynn Kinchelow and Race Control, and to Mike Ouellette and the entire crew at the Majors for putting this series on. A magnificent championship this is, and it's a pleasure for us to bring it to you once again here in 2025. I'm Reese Gardner, Jay Kennedy alongside me in the comms box, and producing behind the scenes, round 8 for the World Series of Asphalt, going to championship leader Ewan Baker. Can anyone topple him in the last 2 rounds of the championship? We'll see. See you next time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.